Hi, and welcome everybody to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. It's Wednesday. I had to think about that for a second. We just discussed this yesterday, how every day blends in together. Jesse brought it up. And again, Wednesday, the 13th of December. And like every Wednesday morning, I am joined by my two colleagues, Mr. Jesse Schule and Sean Higgs, all three of us of gamblersworld.net. And we're going to be talking college football bowl action today. Jesse will be looking at the UTSA and Marshall Frisco Bowl. And Sean will be looking at South Florida and Syracuse. That will be the Boca Raton Bowl. And I'll be looking at Georgia Tech in Central Florida, the Gasparilla Bowl. Boy, oh boy, can't keep track of all these names, but we do know the matchups, and we do have picks for it. As a matter of fact, I'll have two. I'll have a deciding total in a Georgia Tech and UCF game. Before we get to that, folks, just a couple friendly reminders. Our college football bowl package for each one of us. There's 10 of us as handicappers over at gamblersworld.net. You can get up to 43 bowl games for any one handicapper just for $2.99, and we are guaranteeing that package. That simply means that if you don't make a profit over the entire bowl season when you purchase this $2.99 bowl package for any specific handicappers or handicappers, plural, we will credit your account back for the exact amount you paid for that purchase. And I say the exact amount. It's if you pay $2.99, you'll get $2.99. But if some of it's paid in credit, folks, we just credit back the amount of money that you actually paid cash for. All right, and also 12 days of savings during Christmas time, and it starts today. 20% off either the college basketball or NBA package, annual package that is. Normally $8.99. Today only. You can get any one of our college basketball or NBA packages 20% off for the low price of $6.39 for the entire season. So, folks, you want to take advantage of that. It's our first of 12 days of savings. We'll be running something new every day, so make sure you check the site at gamblersworld.net on a daily basis over the next couple weeks, and maybe something will allure you to buy because we got a lot of great handicappers up there and doing a lot of very, very good things in terms of winning. Jesse, how are you?
Doing great, Ross. And once again, I'm glad it's not my responsibility to keep track of what day it is and the actual date of the month. Yeah, we'd be in big trouble if it was up to me.
Yeah, well, we're in big trouble anyway because it's up to me. Sean, how are you?
Yeah, it's like especially when you start doing like bowl games and you're doing games a week out, 10 days, 2 days out, and they blend. The days blend. It happens. What are we going to do? I do the same thing, Ross. I'm like, what day is it? I got to look at the...
Yeah, I mean, the people don't realize you work 7 days a week. I think the only time I'm really honed in on what day it is Saturday and Sunday because I don't do podcasts on those days. And I know especially during football season, you're quite aware when the weekend comes up. But when you get into the early days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you have a tendency to lose track of time a little bit. So in any event, let's get to the games at hand, guys, because we all got a lot of things to do. And I know you viewing out there all have things to do as well. Just a friendly reminder, folks, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, take a second to do so. You're watching a program because you like sports betting. We have some of the best guests you'll find anywhere on the internet in terms of professional handicappers, not only Sean and Jesse, but Doug Upstone from DocSports.com, Chip Chirimbus, and Paul Bovey, tremendous handicappers. Am I missing anybody? I don't think so, and if I am, I'm sorry. But again, folks, if you're on your PC, you'll see a WC logo in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Just click on that. It's absolutely free to subscribe. And if you're on your mobile device or your smart TV, you'll see a black subscribe button underneath. That'll get you subscribed absolutely free, but just by hitting that. And then take an extra couple seconds, go into your YouTube settings and hit the notification alert bell for the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. We broadcast 6 times a week. And by the way, every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern time with these two gentlemen and myself, we do a live show, which gives you an opportunity to chime in with your comments and questions. So mark that down in your calendar. But like I said, if you hit that alert notification bell, you'll be notified immediately upon any of our podcasts being published on a daily basis. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes. Sean, South Florida and Syracuse and the Boca Raton Bowl. Right now, Syracuse is a 3-point favorite. The total is 61. This opened with Syracuse as a 5-point favorite. Obviously, Syracuse has had some transfer portal issues because it's a new coaching staff now. I think it's a tremendous hire. Fran Brown, now the head coach at Syracuse. Of course, he will not be participating in the bowl game, but he's already making his mark on the recruiting trail. And if you're not familiar with who Fran Brown is, he's a first-time head coach. He was named the best recruiter in the nation last year. His last position was as a defensive backs coach for the University of Georgia this past season. So, and he was named the best defensive back coach in the country this year. So anyway, Sean, now that I've filled your head with all of that, let's get to the more important things: is who's going to cover, or is this game going to go over or under?
Well, and I was going to mention that because, they fired Dino Babers, couldn't really get anything going up there. And 24/7 Sports, best recruiter in the name.
Yeah,
that's pretty good to do when you're at Georgia and you're back-to-back champs and you're getting NFL. I mean,
buddy, wait a second, though. He's already had 3-4. He's already signed 2 4-star players already at Syracuse, and he had a 5-star visit over the weekend who's in the top 3. His top 3 choices, one of them Syracuse. So he's making his mark. And I get what you're trying to say. Obviously,
Donovan McNabb and Derek Coleman, Ronnie Cycli, they're all sending money to the old.
No,
no money
they
up
all
there.
are now, right? But no, your point's well taken. It's a lot different.
Yeah, the Syracuse and Georgia, 2 different aspects of the
Right.
football spectrum nowadays. But
Sure.
yeah, so I mean, 5-3 makes sense, right? The Syracuse is not a super team. And we've talked about Syracuse multiple times during the season here, right? They started out great because they beat up the lesser foes, and they didn't beat any bowl teams this year. They had to beat Wake at the end of the year, get to 6-6, and South Florida at least, hey, you beat Rice, you could say you beat a bowl team. But let's be honest, you get teams like this together, I'm expecting points going to go over to 61 here. South Florida here, 35 or more points in 6 of their games, they could put it up. And again, I just think you get bad teams together. South Florida basically a home game. They're gonna have fans there. They'll be pumped up to play. They haven't been in a bowl game in 5 years. Let's have a little offense. Here's one of the fun ones, Boca. Let's go over the total 61. Not gonna overthink. You got the guy. How about this? The guy who took over the intern.
The tight ends coach.
He's an Italian cat. It must be. It's Italian fever up there. We got
and he's being retained, by the way, which is important.
He was on the staff at Rutgers with Ash. They canned him. He was a tight ends coach and came in. He went 1-7 as a coach, but again, that was a bad Rutgers team. Shiana left him on board, and now he's got to be liked by the players at least. Other coaches. Another head coach keeps you on staff. You got to be respected or liked or contribute to the team. So, but that's just a little side point. We're talking about.
Well, it's important, right? Because we're talking about continuity there. You're talking about, hey, you don't want this guy is going to be here next year with you, and that brings a little bit of comfortability level to the players. But this is the highest total that Syracuse has had all season long, by the way, and it should be, I guess, when you're playing a South Florida team that's proven they could score a lot of points, but they don't stop many people. The only thing is, Jesse, is Syracuse, the quarterback situation with Garrett Schrader. He's been on and off in terms of availability, and then they went to the starting tight end to run the wing T, basically. What's your take on this one?
The South Florida defense could make a starting tight end or a Garrett Schrader look like an all-star in an awful hurry. They're allergic to defense in South Florida. The guys are there to have fun. They're not there to play defense. You got an interim coach for Syracuse. I think it's going to be loosey-goosey. And I don't see too many big defensive plays. I could see this being a high-scoring affair.
Yeah, I mean, you look at South Florida's defense for the season, they're allowing just a shade under 35 points a game and a little over 455 yards per game. On the flip side of the equation, this is a Syracuse team in the 6 games they played away from the Carrier Dome. They're allowing 30.5 points per contest and 461.3 yards per game. So they haven't really stopped a lot of people outside of some of the weaker competition they faced in the Carrier Dome. And again, you look at this Syracuse team, and the reason why Dino Babers isn't there anymore, they won their first 4, then they go out and they lose their next 5. They win 2 out of 3 down the stretch to become bowl eligible, and all of those were without Dino Babers. So they went over in the last 3 games. South Florida 3-1, 4-1, 4-2, 6-2 to the over in the last 8. So yeah, I tend to agree with Sean. I don't know if it's going to be one of my plays, but I know this: our official play is on Syracuse and South Florida over 61 for Mr. Higgs. And the last I checked, Mr. Higgs is pretty good, folks. Matter of fact, number 2 in the last 60 days, number 3 overall at the site, number 1 in college football, number 1 in the NFL, number 1 in terms of college football and the NFL combined money earned, and number 2 in the NBA right now. So if you want to follow the advice of somebody who's got a good track record of winning over the long haul, Sean Higgs is the man. All right, Jesse, let's take a look at your matchup. UTSA against Marshall. And we were talking off air. Marshall has 18 players that have opted out and went into the transfer portal. And of course, we saw a huge line movement where UTSA is now a 13-point favorite in this game. The game's being played in Frisco, Texas, home of the North Texas Mean Green. And the total in this game is 53. Jesse, where are you going with this?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would have been looking at UTSA anyway before the transfer portal news. And I will say, Ross, 18, I'd say 18 and counting. But yeah, and among those 18, 2 quarterbacks, including the starter and coach Charlie Huff, a quote from the Marshall coach: "The kid has been miserable. The fans hate him. We got no NIL money for him, so it's no surprise." Yeah. So not painting a rosy picture.
Yeah, exactly.
We got no NIL money for you.
That's the name of the game right now.
There's 18 guys in the transfer portal. I really laughed at the no NIL money. And yeah, the guys that are in the
– that's a real quote from the guy?
That's a real quote. You can look it up.
The fans hate him. Everybody hates him.
The kid has been miserable. The fans hate him. There's not a lot of NIL money for him, so it's no surprise.
Who quoted this?
The coach.
I think Bleacher Report. I mean,
okay.
Multiple sources.
No, it wasn't a coach.
But yeah, no, this is Charlie Huff saying about the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And another quarterbacks in the portal. A couple key players. I didn't dig into all 18 guys, but once dominoes like that start to fall, where's the incentive for anybody else to come to play? And the thing is, I don't want to say that everybody's playing for UTSA. And I watched the bowl announcement from Jeff Traylor for UTSA, and he said, as of today, the Roadrunners are all in, but don't quote me on that, because he prefaced that with, we were all in last year, and 3 days before the game, a bunch of guys jumped ship. So you can really never count on everybody playing, but there's some guys on like Frank Harris.
Yep.
He's the key. So as long as he plays, I feel good, and I don't see any reason for him to opt out. I mean,
well, he wouldn't, because he's a senior. He's out of eligibility from. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jesse. I believe I'm right.
Yeah, for 15 years.
Yeah, exactly, and he's probably not NFL
he's 34.
material.
He's married to one of the professors.
He might be. Look, somebody in the NFL might give him a shot as an undrafted free agent, but you're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he's not giving up. If he goes out and sprains his MCL, it's not like he's instantly losing millions like a lot of these guys that would be projected to go in the first and second round. So yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why Frank Harris doesn't play. If he plays, you'd expect Cephas to play, and the entire offense should be good to go. And not only that, UTSA 0-6 in bowls. Trailer made a mention of, this is the one thing that we haven't done here. We've done everything we wanted to do here, aside from a New Year's Six bowl, which is a lofty expectation, but just winning a bowl, they haven't done that yet. So there is some pressure on them to get over that hump and win a bowl. And this is a great opportunity for them to do. And it's in their backyard as well, in the state of Texas. So they should have plenty of support, and they've got the better team. They've got more talent, and they're going to have a huge edge at quarterback as long as Frank Harris plays.
Yeah, We Are Marshall is sort of that whole chemistry and unitedness thing is seemed to dissipate in this current regime. And boy, oh boy, you look at Marshall, they started out the year 4-0, they a couple nice wins against Virginia Tech and Old Dominion. And then they just fell apart. They went 2-6 down the stretch. They had to win their last game against Arkansas State to become bowl eligible. And then UTSA, prior to the year, Sean, I really thought they had a decent opportunity with all the players they had coming back, including Frank Harris, their starting quarterback, to be a group of 5 representative in the New Year's Six bowl game. But then they go out and they lose to Houston in their opener 17-14. They lose at home to Army. They go to Tennessee and they get waxed. Frank Harris missed some of those games, by the way, folks, in the early stages due to injury. But then they win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of their last 8 games. Is that correct? Let's see. They're 8-4.
I think it was 7 straight prior to the loss at Tulane.
Yeah. In the was that the conference No, it wasn't the conference championship game. So anyway, they finished strong. Sean, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, because I was on them out of the gate in like 3 of the first 5 games there. I had them in Houston, Texas State, Army, all failed to cover. I didn't want anything to do in Tennessee. I came back on Temple. They did cover that game. But it was a quarterback. He was hurt. He was banged up, wasn't playing. The guy puts up numbers when he's in the system. And as Jess alluded to, he's no reason for him not that. I mean, I joke that he's like a 7-year senior kind of guy, and I think his kids walk on. I mean, it's, this is his Super Bowl. This is the team Super Bowl. You're playing in Texas. It's a 3-hour drive. Come on.
Yeah.
And also, I had to go up and look up those Huff comments. And I just saw an article for like a half hour ago. He said I had to clarify. He's like, well, I wasn't saying all the fans hate him. It was just a small group of fans. I love everybody together.
Anyway,
good for the coach for saying that. Like he's frustrated. Come on, he's like, I was out of town. I'm sure he's frustrated his quarterback leaves and it's a bad season. But I mean, come on, no money.
Well, I guess the no NIL money is a shot at his athletic director and his university, right? Like, you guys are leaving the cupboards bare. What do you want me to do here?
The no money thing. As much as it's good for bigger schools, all these other schools, what do you think? If a quarter of these schools fold up and just don't have programs anymore,
there's a reason why. There's a reason why you're not a Power 5 conference school. I mean, come on.
I'm sure the football team costs a lot more than the basketball team. Why don't you just take all the money and pour it into the basketball team for no? You know what I'm saying? Like less players. I mean, I don't know. It's a double-edged sword. That's a show.
Look, even if you're going to offer a kid $1 million who's a 5-star or 4-star coming out of high school to go to Marshall, he's most likely going to be able to get more money going to a Power 5 school, So it's going to be very difficult in this NIL age. I think we're going to see more and more of this. Well, like we're seeing at Marshall, it's not like they have a huge stadium. I think the capacity there, and I may be incorrect, but the last I recalled, somewhere around 28,000. The community loves, supports their team. The UTSA, I mentioned it yesterday, don't underscore when a team is playing in close proximity to their campus in a bowl game. And this is a UTSA team that drew very well at home this year. They have a lot of support within the program, fan support and whatever have you. And I think that might be the biggest telling factor on top of everything else is they're going to be juiced up to play this game, Sean.
Normally, I would say like, hey, to Texas, North Texas fans will go there and cheer on San Antonio.
Yeah.
I don't know. Being down here now, like
there
are lines drawn in the sand of who you cheer for. So I don't even know if they just get the local Texas fans coming in.
But you got to think that teams that travel well for a bowl game.
Oh yeah,
UTSA is going to be one of them just because of the proximity. I don't think there's going to be many North Texas fans that are going to be interested in going to see this game, in paying a good buck to go to a bowl game. Doug was telling me on Monday's show, the minor bowl game that's being played at where the Arizona Diamondbacks play there, the cheapest seat in the house is $125. I mean, so I don't know what the price tag is for this bowl game, but in any event, it's again, when it's close in proximity like this and the team draws well at home and their fans don't have to travel far, I would say that there will be overwhelming support for UTSA as opposed to Marshall, especially for all the reasons we just said. So, Jesse, tell the folks a little bit about what you got going on this week, what you foresee for the weekend, and anything else you'd like to share with the audience.
Yeah, I split last night, went 1-1 with college hoops and NHL, but NHL is carrying me at the moment, really performing well on the ice. We're bringing back that nickname, the Iceman. And I do have another game of the week with NHL up tonight, testing some kind of really fancy run with NHL picks. I can't quite picture it right now, but because I'm thinking about my NFL 8-1, 89%, 10-star NFL run, which will be tested both on Saturday and Sunday. So we got a couple big games coming up with NFL. We got big games coming up in bowl season. I mean, really, as far as the best time of year to subscribe to a handicapper for a 30-day package, I mean, right now and probably March Madness, the two best times.
Yeah. I mean, right now, a 30-day package will get you the NFL, will get you bowl games, will get you the NBA, will get you college basketball, will get you the NHL. It's the busiest time of year for us because you have multiple sports going on at the same time. It's a great time of year, actually. Sean, I failed to ask you, and I will ask you now. I went over your accolades as far as your rankings over at gamblersworld.net, and obviously you're doing extremely well. But if I missed anything that you would like to share with the audience, I would hope that you would share it with them, and I'm sure you will. And do you have any fancy streaks like Jesse calls it a fancy streak? So
I don't have any fancy streaks like that. I'm just
you're not a fancy guy.
I'm like a Costco guy. Just everything's in the box. Where Jesse's like a fancy shopper. He's got like a personal shopper come and pick things out. I had a loser with the Lakers yesterday. Although I had a good number at like a pick 'em 120 and it went up to 5. You know, with a loser there. Penguins puck line was a winner. I dropped my lone college basketball game again. A couple games under 500 college hoops, but listen. It'll come around. What am I going to say? Started the same way in both NFL and college. We're having good seasons. And we talked about like your little 12 days of Christmas going on here and plays. I have 14 NFL up for the weekend, 24 bowl games. Packages up already for this weekend. I'll be adding some more for next week's bowl games. But I don't know. I'm definitely the guy for breakdown price per unit. If you want,
if you like a lot of games, Sean's your guy, and it's not like he's just throwing things up against the wall and hoping they stick. Because I just gave you all his numbers in terms of rankings going. He's picked his spots in the NBA. He's 13-4, I believe, to start the year in the NBA, despite last night's loser. Number 1 in college football, number 1 in the NFL, right up there in the 60 and 90 day standings, number 3 overall at the site. Since its inception. So there's a lot of good reason why you'd want to invest money with Sean because he's going to make you money over the long haul, folks. And don't forget, 3-day, 7-day, and 30-day packages, all guaranteed. So if we do not make you a profit during that period of time, whatever that purchase may be, 3, 7, or 30-day, you will get your account credited back the exact amount that you paid for that purchase. And the bottom line is that the majority of the time it's going to be a moot point because you invest in any one of us over a long period of time. More times than not, that credit whole thing is going to be a non-factor. So again, Sean Higgs and Jesse Schule, these guys have done wonderful things in their career, and they continue to do so. And check them out over at gamblersworld.net. You'll be happy you did so. All right, I'm going to be covering the Gasparilla Bowl, and that game is between Georgia Tech and Central Florida. Before I get to that, folks, I'm going to just run down why you should spend some money with me. Since December 2nd of last year, college football is 70-48. That's 59%. Since week 2 in the NFL, 47-33. That's 59%. NBA side since April 11th of this past, of this year actually, going back to last season, 52-23. That's 69%. College basketball right now, 11-5 and 40-28 runs. Last night in college basketball, I had Arkansas Pine Bluff and South Florida over 161 in the final score, 104-88, folks. I think I won that game. And that makes my college basketball totals now 60-35 since February 16th of 2022. NFL totals also on a roll, 14-5 since October the 1st. And all totals, and I want to bring this to my two cohorts' attention. All totals, 42-23, 65% since September the 8th. I only bring it to these guys' attention because there was somebody else they mentioned on the site who's the ultimate totals player, and he is. But I'm pretty good too at totals, I think. Anyway, all right, let me get to my game. The Gasparilla Bowl will be played at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, the home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A pair of 6-6 teams here, Georgia Tech and UCF. I think this is going to be one of the more entertaining games of the bowl season. Both of these teams like to go up and down the field, and both of them aren't very good defensively. And Georgia Tech, by the way, they're coming off. They scored 34 points and 488 yards of offense against Louisville, who's a pretty good team. 474 yards against Ole Miss on the road. That's another pretty good team. 635 yards and 46 points against North Carolina. Not a bad team. And then in their finale against Georgia, which they gave the Bulldogs all they can handle in that game at home, they only scored 23, but they racked up 373 yards of offense against an extremely good Georgia defense. This is their third game this season where there's a total of 60 or more. The previous two both went over the total against North Carolina and Ole Miss. In those two games that had the 60-plus total, combined 79.5 points scored per game. This is also, again, I mentioned their accolades ringing up a lot of yards against good teams, but that's been pretty consistent all year. Georgia Tech, 452 yards or more in 7 of 12 games this year, and they also allowed 465 yards or more in 5 of 12 games and 400-plus yards of offense to the opposition in 8 of 12 contests. So as you can see, they're more than capable of moving the ball, but you can move the ball very well and score a lot of points against them as well. UCF, on the other hand, 463 yards or more in 8 of 12 games this season. And this is a team that played in the Big 12. The last I checked, that's not a bad conference. For the season, they're averaging 32.5 points per game and 492.3 yards of offense per contest. And that includes averaging 7.1 yards per offensive play. So these are two teams that can move the ball. This total opened at 61. It's now 64.5, and that's for good reason. I still think there's value here, even at 64.5. So I'm going to go UCF and Georgia Tech over 64.5. I promised you 2 picks on this contest, and I'm going to deliver. This is a Georgia Tech team coming off a 31-23 loss in their regular season finale to Georgia, and they easily covered as a 25-point dog. Georgia Tech has gone, 5-0 straight up after a loss this year. The Yellow Jackets have not lost back-to-back games all season long. So keep that in mind as well, folks. And then they're going to be facing a UCF team, like I said, averaging over 32 points per game. Since last year, under this coaching staff, the Yellow Jackets have gone 9-0 against the spread versus any foe that's averaging 31 or more per game. And UCF certainly qualifies in that. So I'm going to take Georgia Tech here plus the points, 4.5 over UCF. Again, Georgia Tech plus 4.5, Georgia Tech and UCF over 64.5. My 2 picks on this game. Jesse?
Yeah, Ross, with the line movement on the total, I think it's fair to say the bookmakers are trying to tell us something. I do like the over more than I like the side. I think tackling will be optional. Both these teams had their issues in that department during the season, especially Central Florida. And a real hit and miss team, Central Florida. You know, one week they look like world beaters, and the next week they can't get out of their own way. Certainly wouldn't surprise me to see both teams score a few points in this one. So of your 2 picks, I like the over more.
Sean?
Well, I'm going to say I have one of these picks is a premium play for me, and I have it up already posted on the site, and I just have a better number than what's posted. I'll tell you that, so you can figure that one out.
Okay. All right. So fair enough. Draw your conclusions from there.
Ross, when the bookmakers are trying to tell us something, usually they tell Sean first, and he gets a better number.
And the results will say that you are correct, Jesse. So.
I got Miami minus 13 this week versus the Jets. Everybody, just so you know, the line's 8.
Yeah, there you go.
You don't always catch them.
You don't know. It's not an exact science, but look, I would say, and I'm sure Jesse would agree, and Jesse does the same thing. He gets down early, and these guys are very good at, more times than not, when they get down early on a game, folks, they're going to be ahead of the line move, which is going to work in your favor. Okay, so like Sean said yesterday, you know, if you want to wait to a day before the game to purchase from them, you're probably going to be at a distinct disadvantage because he's going to have a better number than you're going to get at that particular moment in time. And that's not saying you won't win, because if you look at Sean's record, that's not the case. But you do lose some value by waiting for guys like Sean to get down early and Jesse to get down early on games. All right, boys.
Let me give an NFL winner for week 16 here. All right. Take the Bears are minus 3 against Arizona next week. Get on the Bears early. No way Arizona up in Chicago at Christmas time. Yeah, good luck, Kyler Murray.
So you're talking like in 10 days, right? Not this Sunday. You're thinking in like
yes. Yeah. It's already the line's out. They're a 3-point fave. Yeah. 3-point fave. And also the Niners 4.5 over the Ravens. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Is the Yankees going to win? Or
chess player, Ross? He's always thinking.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, what do you got on the Yankees season opener? Are they
under win total? Yankees always under win total. Yankees.
I'm talking about the game because you're Mr. Crystal Ball. I'm asking you.
Here's the Yankees. Are we really counting on Rendon and Montes to come back and be healthy?
I wouldn't. You know, I know the Juan Soto thing. We'll see how that pans out.
He's gonna walk 190 times. He loves walking, which is great. Get on base, but
that ballpark suits him well. You know what I mean?
Are the Dodgers gonna get their $700 million out of Ohtani? Like, I know he's gonna be great for marketing, but on the field, are you gonna get $700 million worth of pitching and hitting?
The $700 million doesn't have to apply just to his offensive and defensive numbers. It's like what you just said. When they invest $700 million in a guy, it goes above and beyond what they project his numbers to be.
And he has a $2 million cap hit this year, so it's not too bad.
If he stays healthy,
salary 45 in the cap.
Yeah.
The whole if he stays healthy, though, that's a pretty big if. You know what I mean?
It's the arm. How you're paying and listen, in 5 years, $70 million for a DH might be a bargain.
Yeah.
With the way salaries are going, right? I mean, they're paying Judge 45. So what's to say 5 years? 5 years, it'd be $50 million for somebody. What's Soto going to get next year?
The only thing that I will say is he's in the same market. You know what I mean? It's not like if he went to New York or even went to Toronto, like some people speculated. That could be an enormous marketing boost for a franchise like that. being that he's been in Southern California and Anaheim throughout his the beginning of his career till now. I don't know how much more you could market a guy in that particular
But now they get a piece of that, though. So they're going to get a piece of whatever that was.
Yeah, sure. But by the same token, in terms of pure numbers, Jesse, that a lot depends on him staying healthy, in my opinion.
How's that pitching staff? How's their pitching staff?
The Dodgers.
What do you got? Who? Bueller coming back from an injury?
Yeah.
Urias is going to leave. Kershaw's 50.
Yeah.
I mean, Miller, all these young guys. All right, good luck. Good luck with no pitching. So how'd you do last year? I don't think you're better than the Braves. I don't think you're better than probably the Phillies.
Yeah, Phillies got decent pitching. There's no two ways about it. All right, we're getting off track here, but folks, don't forget 12 days of savings, which starts today. NBA and college basketball annual packages, normally $8.99, 20% off. That gets you to $6.39 until midnight tonight. Take advantage of that, folks. Also, don't forget, for all of us at the site, all 10 of us, including us three, $299 college football bowl package, which is guaranteed that if you don't make a profit over the course of the bowl season, when anyone you invest in, we will credit your account back $299. I could tell you last year myself, I finished 13-4 in the bowl season. Again, I have a good track record, and you heard these gentlemen as well, what they have going on. And Sean, number one right now in college football. So in any event, until the next time, and don't forget, folks, all three of us will be back on Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes.
We got to make sure we tie a string around Sean's finger this week. Because if you weren't with us last week, Mr. Higgs decided to appear after an hour. But he's that's a rarity with him.
I put a post-it right on my computer here.
But all three of us will be back. And folks, you can chime in with all your questions and comments at that time. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon with Doug Upstone and Chip Chirimbus, and we'll be talking NFL at that particular moment in time. And then on Friday on the live show, we'll have 3 NFL free picks for you on Friday. So until the next time, for Jesse Schule, Sean Higgs, and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.